Good morning, it's game day, and this is Game Day U, Oklahoma's only weekly pregame show live on TV. I'm your host, Kaylee Jo Hommel, and I'm joined by Emily LeBeth, Aiden Tyler, and Britton Ross. And before we can get to today's game on Owen Field, we're going to throw it back to the Cotton Bowl. And all right, we're going to start right in the first quarter. On the first drive, Quinn Ewers throws the ball, and wait, turn the camera. Could it be true? It was OU's Billy Bowman who intercepted it. Still that same quarter, the Sooners put the first points on the board with this 42-yard field goal by Tyler Keltner, but that three on the board is going to stick. It's now 7-3 Texas, and Quintravion Weiser is running when Robert Spears-Jennings comes out of nowhere right here. He forces the fumble, but it's recovered for a Texas touchdown. Not the only fumble of the game. Michael Hawkins Jr. fumbles it right here, and the Longhorns score 7 again right afterwards. And we're going to end in the fourth quarter with the last Longhorn touchdown of the day. Ewers had one passing and one rushing. Final score 34-3 Texas. Now, the Oklahoma defense allowed an average of 6.7 yards a Texas play, which is almost double of what the Longhorns were giving up. This side of the ball played arguably their worst game of the season.
Yeah, Kaylee Jo, the defense didn't look like themselves, but they also didn't look like they were ready for this game. Not only did they give up the most points all season, there was poor effort when trying to get that fumble in the end zone that you mentioned, and plenty of missed tackles.
Yeah, let's talk about the offense, though. The third down woes for the Sooners continued against Texas. OU was 4 for 15 on third down. Now they're only converting 26% of their third downs. That's 128 out of the 134 schools in the country. Seth Luttrell's offense has to figure things out.
You're right, Aiden, because Brent Venables' team has been embarrassed by their biggest rival in 2 of the 3 years he's been the head coach. Losing on a big stage in that fashion is enough to make any seat warm, and right now it's Luttrell's.
Now it's the halfway point of the season, which means there's still a whole lot more of football to be played. For senior linebacker Danny Stutzman, he's keeping a positive mindset looking at the Sooners situation.
We're 4-2, not 2-4. You know, we still have half the season in front of us. I think if you have that type of mindset you're already giving up now, then I don't want you on this team because I still have a lot to play for. I'm only here for a few more months, so I still got a lot I want to accomplish. I mean, we don't really talk about another loss, so that's not on the table right now. I think for us, you know, it's kind of already been instilled in my head, you know, for the years I've been here. You know, you kind of have to now do it for the younger guys and just kind of be a coach in the locker room.
Brent Venables and the offensive coaching staff have mentioned simplifying the offensive plays, but the play calling against Texas was the opposite of simple, resulting in OU only having one play over 15 yards. They're looking to get better at moving the ball downfield today.
Our best game when it comes to consider the, you know, what we're going against efficiency-wise and in our runs. We had, again, several drives that were started with really successful plays, and we didn't sustain it, obviously. And so that's always a concern. You got to not only move the ball, you need to score and create explosive plays.
And the offense has been struggling for the Crimson and Cream regardless of who is at QB. Sooners offensive lineman Troy Everett says that despite being benched earlier in the season, Jackson Arnold is still making a great impact.
Jackson has been a great mentor. He's been a great helper for the offense, for Mike. I mean, he's making sure. I mean, obviously, you know, his situation's a little bit different, but he's going out there. If Mike comes off the field, he's the first one over there. He's helping Mike. Film room, he's helping Mike. We're over there in the locker room. They're talking pregame, stuff like that. He's been, I mean, both of them have grown up tremendously from what I've seen.
Putting it lightly, the run game has been bad this year. The Sooners only averaged 3.4 yards per rush and 102 yards per game on the ground. That ranks them at 100 of 134 schools. Running back Javonte Barnes knows that they need to fix these issues in the run game.
I mean, it starts with practice. You know, sometimes we mess up and we kind of brush it off, but it starts right there. We got to have that in practice, and it's always the little details, like I've been saying. And you just got to have that mindset where you're going to mess up. I mean, nobody's perfect in football. Nobody's perfect in life, period.
I'll be watching today's game from the press box. Some Sooner fans will be in the stands, but others will be watching it from some local hotspots. Our Abby Williams is live with more on one restaurant swirling up a good time.
That's right, Kaylee. I'm on the patio of the Mont, one of Norman's favorite restaurants. When we come back, I'll have all the details on your next meal. Well, I know I can't stay away.
Emma, did you hear? Todd's in the hospital.
Who's Todd? He got a collapsed lung from vaping. He thought it was cool.
Not cool.
Promise you won't vape, Emma. It can lead to a lifelong addiction, and we can't be friends if your lungs collapse.
Bogus.
Wacky sitcom teens aren't the best people to talk to your kid about vaping.
Hey, you got a minute?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed.
When we have the food we need, we are at our best. We push further. We rise higher. We unlock our full potential. When we have the food we need, we make our communities stronger. Together, we can help everyone get the food they need to thrive. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Water is our most precious resource and something that should be conserved and used wisely. Here are some water conservation tips you can try. In the kitchen, collect the excess water you use to rinse produce and use it to water houseplants. Also, soak your pots and pans instead of letting the water run while you scrape them. Water is life. This message was brought to you by the City of Norman.
Game days in Norman and the Mont restaurant just go hand in hand, kind of like cheese fries and swirls. Game Day U reporter Abby Williams is live from the historic spot with why Sooner fans can't seem to stay away.
Well, I know I sure can't stay away. Normally on any given Saturday, this place would be packed. But at 9 in the morning, it looks like I'm the only one here. I talked with the general manager of the Mont to see what it is that people love so much about this place. Take a look. There's no place like the Mont, a Norman staple with a history going back to 1976.
It's just a big family with the staff and the customers and everything. It's like some of the best customers in the world. You can't ask for better.
And while the beloved restaurant boasts a full menu, a beautiful patio, and plenty of memories, it's one drink that they're known for best, the Sooner Swirl.
It's been our lead seller for as long as I've worked here. It's anywhere from 25 to 30% of our sales. We sell around 120,000 of them a year. And with to-go swirls, it's been great too. They've helped us a lot.
Luckily for me, I got an exclusive look at how it's made.
It's supposed to be 8 layers, 4 of each. Sangria margarita, sangria margarita, sangria margarita, sangria margarita. That's not necessarily how it happens, especially if we're busy. It's probably going to be closer to 4 layers. It's our iconic drink.
But the Sooner Swirl isn't the only iconic thing about the Mont. The walls are lined with the records of former OU football teams dating back to 1947.
We have a designation for when each coach was brought in. You can see Brent Venables brought in 2022, and you go back to Lincoln Riley, Bob Stoops, and all the way around you see when the coaches came.
And for out-of-state SEC travelers, everyone's welcome at the corner of Classen and Boyd.
Tennessee was amazing. Probably about 15 to 25% of our clientele during the Tennessee weekend was Tennessee fans. We expect the same from Alabama fans because they've been here before and they've been great. I think we get lucky with fans that travel because we get the best part of the fan base. And I like to think that when I travel with the team that I'm the best part of the OU fan base.
Every Saturday, the Mont staff brings TVs out on the patio for fans to catch the game. And no matter what happens on the field, there's always Sooner magic at the Mont. If you still need a spot to catch the game today, well, you're welcome. I think I just found it for you. Reporting live from the Mont in Norman, Abby Williams, Game Day U.
Thanks, Abby. From a local restaurant to a local legend, now written into history. I took a deeper look into the birth of OU football. Here's that story.
It's football time in Oklahoma.
Time for football and to dust off a piece of history.
The birthplace of Oklahoma football was a bit of a mystery.
and people had referred to it, but not really sure.
But it's no longer a mystery. After years of research by OU, the spot where the idea for a football team began, right on Main Street. Now a local restaurant, once home to the Reisinger Barbershop.
Let's get up a football team.
6 words said in a barbershop like where I'm sitting by John Hartz. Now he would go on to coach that first Oklahoma football team in the fall of 1895.
It's the past that gives us the path to the future.
OU remembers this past in honor of the 100th celebration of its stadium.
Taking a moment to celebrate various stages and special, noteworthy parts of Oklahoma football history.
The site is now dedicated with a marker to be forever remembered as one of these stages. Reporting from Main Street, Kaylee Jo Hummel, OU Nightly. Just means more when it comes to homecoming this year because it's not just homecoming for Oklahoma. When we return, we'll take a look at a former Sooner returning to Gaylord Memorial Stadium.
Water is our most precious resource and something that should be conserved and used wisely. Here is a water conservation tip you can try. In the bathroom, if your shower can fill a 1-gallon bucket in less than 20 seconds, replace the shower head with a water-efficient one. They are cheap, easy to install, and can save you up to 750 gallons a month. Water is life. This message was brought to you by the City of Norman.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Okay. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Water is our most precious resource and something that should be conserved and used wisely. Here is a water conservation tip you can try. In the bathroom, turn off the water while you brush your teeth. You'll save about 4 gallons per minute. That comes out to about 200 gallons a week for a family of 4. Water is life. This message was brought to you by the City of Norman.
Hokie-born, Sooner bred, but when he dies, he'll be Gamecock dead. Britton, you were at SEC Media Days where you covered why this game is so special for this South Carolina head coach. Here's that story.
As Oklahoma football enters the SEC, a new conference brings new teams and some familiar faces. Shane Beamer was on the OU staff before becoming the head coach at South Carolina, but he remembers his time in Norman fondly.
And it's pretty cool when I worked there. You drive to work every day and you drive past all these Heisman Trophy statues. So, I mean, that's not normal at a lot of places. So I think we don't talk a whole lot about the venue or the atmosphere. They'll be excited to go out there as well and play a really good team. Emotions, I don't know. I've got some great memories from my time in Norman, some great friends that I made during my time there. So appreciative to Joe Harris and Joe Castiglione and Lincoln Riley for giving me an opportunity to go to Norman. We grew as a family, had a great time living there. It'll be emotions just going into a place that I spent 3 years and had a great time. I'll be in that visiting locker room. The only time I was in there was Coach Riley kicked the team and coaches out of our locker room because we weren't keeping it clean one year, so he made us all dress for a week of practice in the visiting team locker room. So it won't be my first time in the locker room over there, but it's just a great venue and great place with great people, and it'll be exciting going back there.
The Gamecocks fly into Norman on October 19th for the first matchup in program history. Reporting from Dallas, Texas, Britton Ross, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Britton. Now, South Carolina has a 3-3 record on the season so far and is averaging 29.2 points per game. The Sooners are averaging only 24.3 while holding their opponents to 19. I see USC ruffling some feathers.
Gamecock quarterback Lenora Sellers could definitely do that, Kaylee Jo, and shake this OU defense up. A threat with his legs. 3 of his last 5 games, he had over 50 rushing yards. But this South Carolina offense is prone to turnovers. They had 4 last week, and Sellers has thrown a pick in his last 4 games.
Emily, let's switch sides of the ball. South Carolina's defense is 15th in total yards. OU's offense, 123rd in total yards. The offense is in for a sandstorm when the Gamecocks show up. I don't think the Sooners' offensive woes are going to end anytime soon.
Aiden, that SC defense has 19 sacks this year, the same amount as OU, but on the flip side, the Gamecocks have given up 26 sacks, which is the most in college football. And OU isn't too far down on that list either, with 20 given up. This will be a fun day for both defensive lines.
Well, over in the rest of the SEC, it's heating up in Week 8. Arkansas is fresh off of a bye week as they face another top 10 team in number 8 LSU. The Razorbacks will be hunting another upset, reminiscent of that 19-14 win over then number 4 Tennessee.
And we got a tiger-on-tiger matchup this morning. Number 19, Missouri, is playing their first SEC game since that 41-10 loss against Texas A&M. Hosting one of the teams in the bottom 2 of the conference, Auburn. And Mizzou is, you're reading that right, only a 4-point favorite over the 2-4 team.
Well, the eyes of Texas are upon Georgia tonight at 6:30. Texas is defending their home turf and that number 1 ranking against the juggernaut Bulldogs. A win against the Dogs would really show that Texas is back and SEC ready.
And the last time the Crimson Tide went into Rocky Top, the goalposts ended up in the Tennessee River. Both teams look a bit sloppy the last couple weeks, and each team already has a loss on the year, so this could be a make or break game for both of their seasons.
When we come back, it's time for more OU football. We'll talk everything you should be watching for at this 11:45 a.m. kick.
People couldn't see my potential, so I had to show them.
I've run this place for 20 years, but I still need to prove that I'm more than what you see on paper.
Today, I'm the CEO of my own company.
It's the way my mind works. I have a very mechanical brain.
Why are we not rethinking this?
I am more.
I'm more
than who I am on paper.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
See, Smokey thinks I'm funny.
We have even more OU football to break down ahead of Oklahoma's matchup against South Carolina. An improvement on the offense and defense is necessary after that 34-3 loss to rival Texas. And when it comes to who or what to watch for, I've got a true freshman. And no, not Michael Hawkins Jr. Eli Bowen made his first career start as a true freshman, and he was a star for the defense. Now, the last time a true freshman defensive back made a first career start against UT, Bowen was only 4 years old. He led this side of the ball with 8 total tackles and was one of 5 Sooners to notch a tackle for loss. And it was his first tackle for loss, too. But the history doesn't end there. Him and his brother Peyton were the first siblings to start for OU's defense since 1975. And after the game, defensive coordinator Zach Alley called the younger Bowen brother an absolute baller, so expect him to ball out once again.
Bowen was the highlight of the Red River rivalry, but let's break down how it fell apart defensively. In the first quarter, Zach Alley's group forced a turnover, gave up 13 yards, and held Texas scoreless. In the second, Texas gained 212 yards, but the real backbreaker came in the final 4 minutes. Texas is up 4 points, and OU allows them to score 2 touchdowns 41 seconds apart. More than half of the Horns' yards before the break came on 3 plays, all over 35 yards. OU has to limit explosive plays today when they face Shane Beamer and his Beamer ball play style of attacking all sides of the ball.
Well, Emily, let's talk some Sooner offense. They need a savior. They gain a 20-yard plus play on only 3.4% of snaps. That is the third worst among all Power 4 conferences, or Power 4 offenses in the past decade. The John Blake Sooner offense in 1998 averaged more total yards than this year's team. The 98 squad had 293 yards a game to this season's 287.7. That 98 squad Blake coached went 5-6. Blake was fired after that season. The QBs for the Sooner squad have been sacked on 10% of their dropbacks. This offensive unit is clearly not clicking the way Sooner faithful thought it would after week 1.
Well, Aiden, it gets even worse than that. It's safe to say that all the hype around this team has died. Halfway through the season, and OU still hasn't had a 200-yard passer or a 100-yard rusher this season. The closest they came to a 100-yard rusher was Jackson Arnold against Tulane, and nobody else has even come close. The last passing touchdown for the Sooners was nearly a month ago against Tennessee, exactly 4 weeks ago today. And even when they score, they still can't do it right because they missed that extra point.
Well, that's all for Emily, Aiden, and Britton this morning, but we still have more Game Day U to get to. We will have a new group of analysts on the desk ready to make some Week 8 picks.
Did you know that items like paint, cleaning solutions, pesticides, solvents, and other chemicals are considered household hazardous waste? These chemicals are dangerous to our environment and water quality when they are dumped in our storm drains or gutters. Fortunately, the City of Norman has a dedicated household hazardous waste facility where you can properly dispose of these items. Call 405-366-5463 to make an appointment. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater.
There are a lot of temptations facing young people today, like electronic cigarettes and skateboarding. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. This can lead today's youth to a lifelong addiction and severe lung damage. Recall and consider the facts before making a poor decision.
The health class film guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping. Got a few minutes? You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
Everyone has a ritual, that small thing to keep us focused. A habit we never skip, to clear our minds and elevate our performance.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game? To drown out the self-doubt and support your mental health. Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mental health. Discover the resources that you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
Did you know that trash, like plastic bottles and fast food wrappers, can carry germs and bacteria? When these items are tossed in the street, they eventually find their way to a river or lake and have a negative impact on aquatic life. Keep our waters clean by putting your trash in the bin. For more information, visit bit.ly/Norman Stormwater.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kitchen now.
Welcome back, and say welcome to these new analysts on the set. I'm now joined by Chris Holman, Kevin Daniel, and Dalton Davis, and they're ready to make some picks for some of the nation's hottest matchups. Now, the third Saturday in October can only mean one thing. Jalen Milroe and the Crimson Tide are heading to Knoxville. And Chris, who's going to take this rivalry?
Kaylee, Joe, the last time Alabama came into Knoxville, they were 8.5-point favorites. And we all remember what happened that night. With Tennessee having the 9th best scoring offense in the nation, Neyland Stadium's goalposts are going to end back up in the Tennessee River. Give me the Volunteers.
Chris, the reason that Tennessee has such a high-ranked offense is because they put up 50-plus against Chattanooga, NC State, and Kent State. Since then, the Tennessee offense has been non-existent. Give me Jalen Milroe and Alabama.
Thank you, Kevin, for having some respect for the team that put up 41 points against Georgia. Now, did they just have a rough 2 weeks versus Vanderbilt and South Carolina? Maybe. However, Alabama's like those little cousins always on punishment, not the people you can play with. Give me Roll Tide.
I mentioned earlier the Razorbacks know how to upset a ranked team, so will good things come in pairs when they take on number 8 LSU?
The Tigers own the all-time record for the Battle of the Boot and lead the series 18-9 since the trophy was introduced in 1996. I think the Garrett Nussmeier and Kyron Lacey connection will lead the Tigers out of Fayetteville with some new hardware, or should I say footwear.
Chris, I like the way you think. If you want to know what this LSU offense can do in the crunch, ask Lane Kiffin. Garrett Nussmeier is playing like a top 10 quarterback in the nation. When the Nuss bus starts rolling, all you got to say is, go Tigers!
Guys, Arkansas just shut down the top scoring team in the nation of the last week. LSU ranks 4th nationally in sacks allowed and tackles for loss allowed. P.S. Their defense isn't ranked in the top 50, while Arkansas's offense is ranked 8th. Give me the Razorbacks to turn these Tigers into kitty cats.
It's the biggest game of the season for the number 1 Longhorns in a Saturday night showdown against number 5 Georgia. Chris, who will be heading to the doghouse?
The Longhorns are ranked 1st in the nation in scoring defense and 7th in scoring offense. However, this is a Georgia team that has won the Natty twice in the past 3 years, and for good reason. I think the Dogs are going to be dancing out of Austin with a mouthful of Bevo barbecue.
Chris, the championships of yesteryear are in the past. Georgia has a much less experienced team. Texas is 7th in offensive yards per game, while Georgia's defense is 27th in yards allowed. The present is now in Austin. Give me the Longhorns.
Chris, we finally agreed on something. I like Georgia in this one to upset the Longhorns and remind the SEC who barks and bites. The last time these two met was in 2019. Texas did win 28-21, where Sam Ehlinger famously said, "We're back." Well, not today. Give me the Dogs. Sick 'em.
Alrighty, in OU South Carolina, what are we thinking?
I think turnovers will decide this one. Give me the Sooners.
Piggybacking on the defense, it'll be close, but I think the Sooners have the edge in this one.
Guys, Sooner magic doesn't exist. Give me South Carolina.
Well, thanks so much for watching Game Day U, where it just means more. For Chris Holman, Kevin Daniel, and Dalton Davis, I'm Kaylee Jo Hommel. We'll be back next week where we're going to be on the road with the Sooners in Oxford, Mississippi. Have a fun and safe game day.
Hear that? That's the sound of